Hi, this is Curiosity Club with Healthy and Happy. I'm Tess.
And I'm Rosie. We've got a lot of interesting things coming up on today's show. Our topic today is environmental science, so you'll have some fun facts from us, as always, and an experiment from Matt, and some interesting facts about nature.
I have some fun facts about environmental science. Every day, for instance, 50 to 100 species of plants and animals become extinct as their habitat is impacted by human activities, and an estimated 80% of the world's forests have already been lost to deforestation, so it's quite serious.
It is very serious, and apparently we cut down around 27,000 trees every day to make toilet paper. When you think about that the population of the world is over 7 billion, I think it's about 7.2 billion people, and it's estimated to reach about 8 billion by 2025. It's quite startling facts, really.
Oh gosh.
When you think about all those trees, yeah.
Definitely, that's a lot of people. Now it's time for an experiment with Matt.
Hi everyone, it's Matt here from CamGlen Radio. Every month I'm going to bring you a sound-related experiment that you can do with things from around your house. Now, if you saw last month's show, I showed you how you could analyse the sound of wind resonating against the tips of bottles, and that kind of proved how sound can travel through solid objects. Now, I'm going to show you how sound can travel through another solid object, your head. Okay, what do I mean by that? What do we use for listening? We use our ear, don't we? Okay, but our ear is actually a very complex system. Now, we've got the outer ear. This is the outer ear here, and that's the bit you can actually see is outside your head. It's a little bit like a satellite dish. So when sound comes in, it bounces in there, it bounces all around. You see the wee flaps and the wee folds? It bounces all around there and then bounces into the actual ear hole when it goes into your inner ear, okay? And today's experiment shows you how sound can travel through your skull and into your inner ear. What you'll need for this experiment is a little bit like last week, is a speaker and a phone or a tablet that you can use to play noise. I've got my tablet over here, and I'm going to use the signal generator or the frequency generator app that we downloaded in last month's show. And we're going to experiment with how noise can travel through a solid object, this toothbrush, into your inner ear. Okay. Now, hold on a second. If it's travelling through the air and this toothbrush into my inner ear, how will I tell the difference? Well, here's another thing you'll need as well. You will need some hearing protection devices. Now, you can get them at any shops. So next time you're out at your supermarket in your essential shop, maybe see if you can get some of these wee earplugs, okay? Now, what I'm going to do first of all, well, you also need a toothbrush as well. This is a clean one, just out of the packet. Now, I'm going to put these in my ear just now, so you have to kind of squeeze them and then put them in, okay? You don't need to push them too far, okay? And then they'll just expand out like a big sponge, or a wee sponge really. You wouldn't use a sponge that small, would you? Okay, you can maybe I can feel them expanding into my ear, okay? Now, once they expand or become bigger in my ear, I can actually hear how things start to sound a wee bit different. Things start to sound a bit muffled, but one thing that is really loud, it's pretty much the only thing I can hear properly, is my own voice, okay? Now, when you speak, you hear your voice through a combination of different things. When the sound is bashing against the walls in your house, or travelling through the air when you're outside, but you also hear your inner ear, but you don't really think about it that much, okay? If you've ever heard a loud bang, and then all you can hear is, if you've ever been on an aeroplane and the pressure starts to build up, and you can only hear your voice for a while, that's because your kind of outer ear's not really working, there's pressure built up, okay? So what I'm doing just now, like I say, I've got the earplugs in, everything else is cut off. I can't really hear much from the outside world. Can't really hear my finger clicking. But if I scratch around the ear, I can actually hear the sound travel through my skull, okay? It's a bit of a weird feeling, okay? Now, What we can do to test how this works a bit further is, like I say, I've got my speaker here, and I'm going to play sounds through it. Now, just remember from last month's show as well, if you're going to be playing loud noises like this, just try and do it at a time that's suitable for neighbours and other people living in the house, because it does get a bit noisy. What I've also done here, as you can maybe see, I've put this on top of a cushion, which is on top of a cover, which is on top of a table. That just stops the sound travelling through the table and into my downstairs neighbour's flat. She wouldn't like that. So this is the frequency generator app. If you just go to your app store and download frequency generator apps, then this will do the job. So just a quick reminder how it works. So this is going to play a frequency of 85 hertz, which means the speakers are going to push back and forth 85 times a second. So this is just the first frequency I've picked. You can kind of just hear that. I'm going to change the frequencies up and down. That's 155. Okay. That's 359. Okay, random frequencies for just now. Now, I'm only going to play that for short periods of time because I don't want to annoy my neighbours. So next time we do this, what I want you to do is tap the toothbrush against, or hold the toothbrush against the speaker, and you should feel it vibrating. So first thing that I'm going to get you to do is to just flick through the different frequencies and try and find the ones that make the toothbrush shake the most. So this is 359, frequency we picked at random. Can't really feel the toothbrush shaking at all. That's 638, it's not doing anything. 2,327. My cat's in the background, you can maybe see her looking very confused. Sorry, Amber. Right, let's try lower frequencies. So let's go down to 66. Again, just a frequency I've chosen at random, but it is quite low. So press play. So I can kind of feel it doing something. Maybe if I turn the volume up a bit. Now, I've turned the volume up just a touch. It's not too loud, but I can actually feel the toothbrush shaking a lot now. Okay. What if I go, let's see, to 80? Oh, that's shaking a lot more. Let's try 80 for just now. Okay, so that's shaking a lot. Now, if I was to push this against the speaker, this probably looks really strange. Push this against the speaker and push it against the side of my ear, or my temple really. So what this will do in theory is the sound will travel through the toothbrush and give my temple a good shake, and that will pass the sound through to my inner ear. It'll be a bit of a strange thing, but it will work. So let's have a listen. Okay, and just push this against there. Now, a really strange thing is happening. So I've got my earplugs in, so I can't hear that an awful lot. But when my head's about here, I can hear the sound, but it's not that loud. And then I push this against that and push this against my temple, and it actually becomes a bit louder. So you should try that, okay? And have a wee experiment with frequencies, different frequencies as well. The other thing I would say is don't have it too loud. Don't have it on for too long, because that will annoy the neighbours, like I say. And what this kind of shows us is that lower frequencies travel through solid objects more than higher frequencies. Okay, give it a wee go, and I'd love to find out how you get on in the comments section. Thanks very much.
Curiosity!
Thanks, Matt. And now it's time for more environmental science facts. So something I learned the other day was that the Earth's environment is constantly recycling nutrients so that they can be used by different parts of the environment. So like sort of rain would feed the plants, plants feed the animals, and then animals eventually pass away and feed the plants. So these cycles are important for the existence of living organisms. Some important cycles include the water cycle that I mentioned just there, the nitrogen cycle, the carbon cycle, and the oxygen cycle. And this all goes into sort of part of the food chain, so it's all connected. It's all connected, and you can imagine what would maybe happen if one of those things got disrupted, like sort of the water was no longer drinkable, for instance, or could no longer grow food. Something else. Oh, actually, and I've also got a joke. Would you like to hear it? Why did the woman go outside with her purse open? Because she expected a change in the weather. Hey.
Thanks for that, Tess.
That was not a great joke.
Well, I have been learning about trees, and I've learned that one of the oldest living trees in the world is in California and is around 4,843 years old. But I did a little digging, and I discovered a fact about one of the oldest living organisms on the planet, and it's with an estimated age of over 80,000 years. Pando, it's called, is the oldest tree in the world, as well as one of the oldest living organisms. And Pando isn't a single tree; it's a clonal colony. Mm-hmm. So it makes copies of itself, and it shares one underground root system. So above ground, Pando looks like a grove of individual trees, but they're all genetically identical clones, which is fascinating. And I always think with ancient trees like that, if they could talk, what would they tell you? They must have seen and experienced so many wonderful things, the evolution of the earth, and all the different organisms that you're kind of talking about there, Tess. So yeah, goodness me, if trees could talk, as the saying goes.
Oh, definitely. That sounds so interesting.
And also a joke from me, and I apologise in advance. What happens when it rains cats and dogs?
What happens?
You have to be careful not to step in a poodle.
Oh dear.
I'm so sorry.
It's all right. I can't judge, obviously. Brilliant. That was great. That's brilliant. That was great.
Hi everyone, just Matt dropping in again. I've had a wee haircut since I filmed my part of the video, but still me. Just dropping in just now to say we're going to show you a wee video from the RSPB. In case you didn't know, RSPB stands for the Royal Society of Protection of Birds, and this video shows you some of the birds that you might expect to see in your garden.
Welcome to Notes on Nature TV. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Jamie, and in this episode we'll be celebrating International Women's Day with a look at some of the amazing work our female colleagues do across the RSPB.
And we'll let you know what you can do to help nature this week.
But first we're going to take a look at some of the amazing wildlife photos and videos that you've been sending in, and you have been sending in hundreds. Thank you so much. The first one, I'm just going to get this up on the screen now. This is a jay in a bird bath. Now, Sarah, have you ever seen a jay in a bird bath?
No, I mean, I don't often get to see jays because they're quite shy creatures. So to see one in a bird bath is amazing.
And it also shows the value of putting out water for birds, because you never know what's going to turn up. And we've had the cold snap. Hopefully we've all moved out of that now. Probably still a little chillier up north in the UK. But birds need water all year round. They'll need it in the winter for drinking and bathing, and in the summer for the same, really, because it's hot and they need the water. So jays don't tend to hang around gardens an awful lot, do they?
No, I normally associate them with woodlands, but saying that, I have seen them in the centre of Brighton and in the centre of Norwich as well before. So it's well worth looking out for them in urban areas, particularly at this time of year when they're on the move a bit more.
And that presumably is because they're drawn in by specific types of tree, oak trees and things?
Yeah, I know jays particularly love acorns. So the one that I saw in Norwich was clearing the acorns out the gutter of a church.
Very good bit of public service there to unblock the gutters. Very handy.
Yeah.
What's this next one that we've got here?
This is like a blackbird.
This is a blackbird which has an unusual talent. Let's have a listen. Now that one was sent in by Bill Jones, who lives near a fire station, and the blackbird has picked up the sound of the fire engines. How amazing is that? Sarah, you know a little bit about birds and mimicking, don't you? Because we normally talk about starlings a lot and mimicry, but there are other birds that can do it, aren't there?
Yeah, starlings have an incredible range for mimicry, but actually song thrushes are the ones that quite often catch me out. I had a song thrush yesterday that sounded a bit like a reed warbler, and now it's far too early for reed warblers to be singing in the UK, but it really did make me look around and question myself. And then I realised that it was part of that 3-note refrain that you'll often hear in song thrushes, and it had just picked it up and was singing it as part of its song.
And I think you mentioned when we were chatting before that you actually have heard one that does a curlew as well. Was that a song thrush?
Yeah, I'm fairly sure it was a song thrush. I couldn't work out what else it was, but it was calling the curlew call. And I was desperately looking around with my camera to try and find this amazing curlew. And it happened on several occasions in the same place. And in the end, I tracked it down with the rest of the bird song to work out that it must have been a 3-note song thrush refrain.
Extraordinary. So there are all sorts of examples of mimicry going on there. Blackbird, starling, song thrush, the 3 we've talked about. There are other birds that do it too. And we would love to hear from you as to what you've heard mimicking what other birds, other noises around your garden. So do send them into notesonnature@rspb.org.uk and we'll talk about them in future episodes. But that was a fantastic and very talented blackbird there. Now this next one is a tree creeper. And we wouldn't expect to see tree creepers in gardens often, would we?
I mean, most people don't notice tree creepers. They're so secretive and so well camouflaged against that trunk of the tree anyway. But to see them in your back garden is something quite special.
And we think that this is during a particularly cold few weeks that we had recently. This one is in Juliet Fleming's garden. It climbs the trellis and even feeds on the fattened peanuts hanging there, which surprised me because this is a bird that's adapted to probe into the bark with its little thin beak for insects. And this one, look at this one, it's on the ground. What's going on there?
I've never seen a tree creeper on the ground. That is completely new to me, and quite incredible. But you definitely do notice that in cold weather, you get more unusual species come into garden feeders. In the last few years, goldcrests have been noticed far more on garden feeders than they have in the past. And it does seem to be the fat balls that attract a lot of these animals.
Fascinating. So do look out for tree creepers. They're very tiny, very mouse-like, and what you'll see is like a little tiny clockwork movement of a little brown and white bird going up a tree trunk, but they never go back down, do they?
No, they don't go back down. And actually, if they're disturbed, they'll quite often just flatten themselves against the tree trunk. So if it stops moving, it's probably a sign you're a little bit too close.
Yeah, so take a step back, and then the blackbird. Okay, I'm still thinking about that blackbird from earlier. The tree creeper will then fly to the base of the next tree and start its journey back up that one. So yeah, they're lovely birds to watch. You can get close, but as Sarah says, don't get too close.
Now, if you like this video, you really should go over to their YouTube channel. Just search for RSPB, and you'll find some of the other amazing videos that they've got on there. Anyway, back to the video.
Here's another interesting fact. Did you know that the average time it takes for plastic to decompose is 450 years, and it takes glass 4,000 years? So it's maybe an interesting one for all of you environmentalists out there, and a very sad thing to think about when you see images of all the plastic sort of washing up on the shores. So it's yeah, definitely something to bring to your attention. But maybe on a bit of a lighter note, another joke. Sorry again. What do you call the horse that lives next door?
What do you call the horse that lives next door?
Your neighbour.
Very good.
It's even worse that I actually made that one up.
Oh well, you know what? Actually, that's impressive. I can't judge that. That's good. Oh, brilliant. So I have a fact. Windmills were used as far back as 200 BC to pump water and grind grain, which I think is just amazing. Like, shows like a lot of sort of human ingenuity, but also shows the ways that we can use things like wind and water to sort of to our advantage, rather than maybe more harmful versions of fuel potentially. And I just that's an interesting fact.
It's a very interesting fact. Yeah, we were having a conversation recently about the advent of the wheel. So which you know, windmills would be nothing without wheels. So that's, yeah, excellent.
And I've got another joke here. Just apologies in advance. What kind of tree grows in your hand? A palm tree.
Wah, wah, wah.
Well, yeah, that's not brilliant. But anyway, thanks for watching, everyone. We'll be back next time with more interesting things to know about nature.
And some more very fun experiments from Matt.
You can catch all of that next time on Healthy and Happy's YouTube page. Until next time, I'm Tess.
And I'm Rosie.